Hello people, welcome to the lesson plan video for Cipher. This is a very interesting lesson which focuses on coding and sending secret messages, which was run during the times of war in ancient times. Now this lesson is for level 1 students and we'll be using the images given here throughout our lesson. Now let's see what is the big problem that we have here. How can we code and decode messages using Cipher? This is the big problem that we have. Now, we are going to quickly skim through the agenda, requesting all of you to pause here and go through each section and its description. I will also be taking a pause so that you can go through it once. Yes. The section we have is the notice and wonder routine, where we want students to observe the images and record anything they see or any question they have. After that, the students are going to code and decode using the Caesar method. In the next 22 minutes, the students will write coded message, which is 4 to 6 words long. And lastly, we have a closure where we do a quick recap and reflection of what we have learned in the lesson. Let's move into our lesson. As you already know, this image is already given in the handout. And based on the observation of this image, students are going to answer questions. Write down three things that they notice in the image and any one question that they might have here. Now, this section is for a total of 16 minutes. Before you send the students for independent work time, ensure that you are setting a timer and informing them that, hey, we are coming back in the next 4 minutes. And while the students are working independently, ensure to set up the board with two columns, notice and wonder. Once the individual work time is done, we call the students back for a large group sharing where the students share that they they feel or they think that the letters are shifting. So in that space, you introduce them to the Caesar cipher and tell them that it is a coding technique which was used in ancient times, and also establish that in this code which we have used or which we have seen here, the letters are shifting by 4 letters forward. And once you establish this, set up the board with the alphabet in 2 rows so that the students can easily understand and make connections. Now we will see what is +4 shift that we have used here. So let's take the example of the image apple which was there. Apple is coded as ETTPI. That means the letter A was replaced by E and letter E was replaced by I. Yeah, that means it's a shift of +4. After A, letter E is the fourth letter, and after E, letter I is the fourth letter. Now we pose a big problem to our students, which is how can we code and decode messages using Caesar cipher? Yeah. Now to use the Caesar cipher, the students are going to learn how to code and decode. Let's see how are we doing that. For the practice, we have a total of 10 minutes. The students are going to work in the first 4 minutes to code. They're going to code two things. The first thing is their name, and the second thing is their favorite view. Yeah, and they'll be using the +4 shift forward, which we have already seen. So +4 shift means A becomes E, B becomes F, and so on. And once students have coded, we ask the students to share this coded message with their partner, where the partner will decode the message. So here the students might find it a little bit difficult because they will keep on going forward. So encourage them to think or ask probing questions like how can they go back if they have gone forward to code the message. Yeah. And a few important things to keep in mind when we are doing the coding and decoding. Make sure that you are asking the students to double check their work because they're doing this for the first time and there are chances they will by mistake replace a letter with another letter, and ask the students to write the alphabet in their notebook if it actually helps them. Now for their reference, we have already put it on the board. In case if having it in the notebook is really helpful, ask them to do it. And a breakdown is that, as I shared before, they will keep on moving forward instead of moving back. So Tell them that coding means going forward and decoding means going backward. Yeah. And once coding and decoding practice is done, we move into writing a message of our own. Let's see how are we doing that. Students will have a total of 22 minutes here, and the students are going to work in their pairs here to write a message. So in the first 10 minutes, they will code the message, which is 4 to 6 words long, and they have the liberty to choose the shift between +2 and +5. So it can be the +2, +3, +4, or +5. But tell them that if you are using +2 for the first word, keep on using the same shift for the other words in the message. Yeah. And when the students have written this and when they have coded the message, ask them to come and get a small piece of paper from you so that in that they can write the coded message, and on the back side ask them to write their names. Yeah. Now comes the most interesting part. So here you are going to collect all the chits from students and the students are going to pick one at random. Yeah. So make sure that the students are not grouping the same message which they have written. And when the students have the chits with secret messages, now comes the challenging part, which is they have to work in their pairs, figure out what the shift is, and decode the message there. So, two things they'll be doing here. Now, they don't know the shift here. So, they must figure it out by trying different strategies. So, we are going to see a few strategies which our students might come up here. The first strategy is the two-line alphabet mapping. This method is applicable when we know the shift. Let's take, for example, Kabaddi, the word is coded using the +4 shift as the coded word, which you can see here. So here, what the students are going to do is we will write two rows of alphabet. The first row is a regular alphabet with A to Z, and the second row or the bottom row is a shifted alphabet which has a +4 shift. For example, A is replaced by E, B is replaced by F, and so on. So in that case, they will map that A becomes E there, B becomes F there, and so on. And that is how the message Kabaddi has been coded as the coded message given here. This is one strategy. The next strategy is trial and error decoding, where we don't actually know the shift. So the students have to actually find out which shift is used here. So for that, we start with a small word in the coded message and we try to decode it using different possible shifts like +2, +3, etc. And when it is actually decoded, we stop using other shifts there. Yeah. Let's take the example of Kabaddi. We will try to use different shifts here. So when we use a +2 shift, this is how, as you can see in the first row, this is how the decoded message looks like. And it does not make any sense. Similarly, when we do +3, does not make any sense. +5 also does not make any sense. That means the shift which has been used here to code Kabaddi is +4 shift. Yeah. Now with the different strategies our students might come up with, we have almost reached the end of our lesson. We do a closing for the last 10 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, we ask the students to recap the process in their progress and use cold calling to call the students and make a list of the steps involved in the process. In the next 5 minutes, the students will do an individual reflection based on a reflection question which is already in their handbook. For the reflection question, please do refer to the handbook. And if there is time after the individual reflection, ask the students to turn and talk to their partner and what have they answered to the reflection question. So with that, we have come to the end of the interesting Caesar ciphers. I'm pretty sure that you are all going to get some secret messages from your students. So be prepared for that and do have fun while taking the lesson in the class. Bye bye.